Okay, I have finished with my running stitch, and obviously I did all running stitch in here. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to start from the center just because it'll give me an easier way to do this. And now I'm going to go back through and I'm going to whip my running stitch. So to keep the knots on the back, I'm going to come up from the back side and then, and about where I want to stop and start kind of a thing. And there you'll see my knots on the back side. And to do the whipping part of this, I'm going to go from the same direction every single time until I come back around. And I'm going to make this really quick on the inside so we can do both ways. I'm just going to go from the outside to the inside. And it's just through the stitch, and it's just pulling it nice and loosely. And it'll look kind of like a candy cane when you're doing it. Outside from the inside. And I'm going to leave this a little loose because I want to pin it down in the middle. Outside to the inside. Outside to the inside. Outside to the inside. Oopsie. I'm doing something wrong here. Okay. Outside to the inside. And at this point, I'm going to call my circle finished. Okay. And outside to the inside. Now, after I finish up my whole circle, I'm going to go back down inside of the fabric because I want to pin it in place. And then I'm going to come back up just slightly over from there. And then I'm going to go the opposite direction. So if I'm looking at this, I can tell I came from this direction the first time. So now I want to go from the opposite direction, which is going to be inside to the outside. And what I should end up with is this little cross over in the middle. So whipping a running stitch looks like a braid when you've got both ways through. It'll start off, the first step looks like a candy cane. The second step gives it this cute little X. So going under the stitch, trying not to pick it up or go through it because that is another disaster. Little X right in the middle. Inside to the outside, just in the opposite direction. And like I said, I can tell that I came from this direction with this one, so I'm going to come from the opposite direction with the other one. When you're looking at these stitches, you want to kind of make sure you've got everything happening for each one, so if you mess up, you can just go back, pull it out, and put it back through. Inside to the outside. And if I don't end up with an X, I know I've done something wrong. Now the next part of this is, now that I have all these little X's, and this one you can even see it's not exactly in the right spot. So I'm going to go back into my fabric. And then what I'm going to do is I am going to come out in between my two stitches, like directly underneath that little X, or where I want that little X to be. And this is a good example because this one, I want to kind of move it to be in the right spot. So I'm going to pull that out, hold it in place, and then put the little stitch down in it. It's almost like going in and out, or out and in the same hole. Coming up in the middle right here, and I want to move this over a tiny bit. And then I can take this X right here, move it back to where I was, and like I said, trying to go back in the same hole I came out of. And what you'll end up with is this little X with a tiny little stitch in the middle of it. This was another one. I want to pull it out and get it right along that circle. I'm trying to pull my circle out now and make it consistent. Gonna pick up my X and move it over. Go back inside. If you're doing a heart, you really want to pin it at both of the points too, just to make it so it's heart-like. It's got those angles in there that you want. So again, moving this one over, so I'm coming over a tiny bit. Go around, loop my X, go down in the middle of it. You can do the same color, you can do different colors. Sometimes it's cute with the different colors because it shows off that you have that tiny little stitch in there. And I'll get an example of that and show you in a minute. Okay, something feels weird now, so, oh, no it doesn't. Like something feels weird, so I was gonna check my back to make sure I didn't have any knots on it. And you'll see my back is pretty much really neat. And I've got everything going on. All right, I'm gonna get an example of a different color stitch for your X's. Oops, I have one more to do. But I can pull this out just a tiny bit by coming off to make it rounder. The stitches are, like I said, almost back down in the same hole. They are literally just to hold that in place. I got a lot of people, oh, there's another one. I got a lot of people putting big old stitches in there, and that's not exactly what we're looking for. Okay, you can see I moved these to where I want them to position them and then put it down. The reason we're doing this is if we turn it into a pillow or something like that, we don't want these to be able to come up by getting snagged on something. Here's the example of stitching this down with a different color. The black stitch is the running stitch, the pink stitches are whipping it, and the green stitches right here are the ones that are pinning it down. And you'll see they're very tiny and they just kind of hold everything in place. Same with this line right here. It's a black running stitch with a pink whipping, and then the white holds everything down.